Yes, 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 yes. Indeed, indeed, indeed. We are here. We are here. We are here. This is the Arcturians once again. We have a reminder, and we need you to understand the information of how to connect in within yourselves to be able to gain access to us. You are always connected in with us, but when you do not have a balance of love of self and a respect of self, you will be focusing on dismissing and distrusting and denying the senses of information we have been giving you for your entire lives. This is a frustration for you and for us. You're constantly asking questions, and yet when we give you the information, not from a visual sense of point of reference, not from an audio point of reference in terms of you hearing us within your mind's eye, it is a thought that pops in, which is the answers that we're delivering, because you seek and ask and ye shall receive. And we say, you ask the question and be prepared to accept the first response you have, not with your conscious mind quickly responding, but to be open to the senses. You can develop a beautiful relationship between your conscious mind and what you call your subconscious mind. And of course, they're all within you. There was a point in human time on Earth where there was a gigantic difference between the frequency vibrations of a human consciousness versus the frequency vibrations of us. And there has been an increase in your frequency vibrations to be able to get to a privilege and an advantage point of still hearing us and dismissing us. So you're almost there. It is so easy to dismiss us, but it's so easy to love yourselves, to trust yourselves, and to accept the very first impression laid upon the mind, laid upon the senses. We are not a we are not a fortune teller in terms of, if you don't like the response, you can keep asking the same questions. And this is the problem. Many of you are wanting to seek the truth from within you, and you are still holding on to other people's perceptions of you, your limitations, your disempowered belief of self, and your confusion of how to just relax and still the mind and not try to force and not try to search and not try to seek us, because we are already within you. And so it is just stillness of the senses to then have true integrity of wanting the true information. We know many of you are actually quite scared to find out about certain events coming, and so you do not want to ask, you do not want to know, and you certainly do not want it to be real. And that is understandable. So you know you need to focus on the now and to be present in the moment. But if you do not trust yourselves, if you do not truly love yourself, if you're still carrying guilt or doubt or shame or confusion of why you're here, you all know why you're here, to be in your lives that you've created for yourselves, off planet and currently on planet, with many of your guides supporting you. When you're still hurt from past experiences and not treasured those lessons as gifts to empower yourself to grow, we are saying it is your doubt, it is your assumptions, and it is your confusion of how we are within you. Again, You will not hear us speak to you with words. You will feel us giving you senses that mean and feel like words. We are trying to help translate this, how you feel, into us. It is often doubted upon because you think it's just your mind creating this. And we say, so just for a moment, listen to the information and see if you can apply it. And does that make sense? Is that common sense? Or are you so used to dismissing your intuition that you shut it down instantly and will do the literal opposite? Some of you are so advanced in your souls that you feel like you're failing as human because you can't seem to fit in to be human. And this makes you feel like you are not achieving what your life purpose and contracts are. And we're saying that is the literal opposite. To be here as a bigger soul, to fit into being human, into that limited box, to just be here with high frequency, when you know you're so much more capable of being human. This can feel challenging, to say the least. It feels so isolating, foreign, disconnected. And this is where the trust of being truly connected has to come into play. You know we are here. You can feel us at times. Either the overwhelming emotion of pure love energy that will make you cry is a great example of knowing that there is more than just what you physically see and feel with your physical bodies. When you still rely on your senses of hearing, seeing, and physically feeling, you are shutting out and distracting yourselves from the other subtle senses, your subtle intuition. We are not show ponies. And we're also not helicoptering you either. And so we're not in your ear nagging you 24/7, as much as we think that might be helpful for some. So our suggestions, our promptings, and our guidance is subtle because it comes from love. And while some of you may have needed tough love approaches, we also get our messages across as we trigger people to trigger you. So we could say it's a hobby of ours, but it is our life contract purpose and promise to you. And for those of you who have wanted to be advanced, to be prepared in full preparation for the events to come, you know that this is your responsibility to find your balance, find your peace, find your perspective of all, to not go into fear, to not go into worry, to not go into doubt, but have full acceptance of all life contracts. And while many can struggle with their life contracts as they use their free will wildly, you all are so creative with that. And that is charming because you wanted a full life experience, because you get so bored, your advanced souls. The advanced souls that are here do get so bored, do feel like even all of their hard-earned achievements feel very superficial because they are not empowering and expanding the soul, what you would call your spirituality. And when you already have such advanced souls, that's not a requirement as such. But when you can't see yourselves, when you dismiss yourselves and devalue yourselves, you don't know your true placement in this world. You don't know your true impact on this world. And we would like to present a question to you to think about. And this has been brought forth through the vehicle and clients before, but we haven't posed this to you all as this. What would it take for one human to awaken the world? What messages, what leadership, what statements, what information would they need to get the ears, the trust, and to motivate all of humanity to follow and to empower and grow and evolve? And we say you have seen and know about many people who have had that life contract to be able to share our words and our perspectives of wisdom to be able to help you find your purpose easier and to have a more graceful way of living instead of torturing yourselves with your mindsets. So you know that there have been many true and of purpose and doing of service leaders. Some of them haven't even identified as being leaders themselves. They say that they are the messengers and merely only the messengers. They have such good connections to us that they are then followed by themselves. And yet this is not their true seeking. However, we have seen many get lost. They have become lost because the ego of being that leader is what their soul starts identifying with versus being the messenger. And when it is like saying those healers that claim they are the healers versus those who are supporting their clients to heal themselves. There is a difference. One is ownership of the energy, and the ego is putting ownership on the effects. Energy is energy. People will heal themselves when they want to heal themselves. So many people are disempowered that they don't even know that they are healing themselves when they pay for a healer to heal them, and the healer says, I have healed thee. Your belief system that they have healed you is what heals you. If you doubted a healer, they will not heal you because you are not healing yourself. You are not using your free will to let go of what no longer serves you. Our messages have been true and repeated throughout your time in history. Our information is through all literature, through we would like to correct. You can find our information in literature that is still living now through all forms of time. But not all literature is us. There is much human who have tried to control our information, limit our information, dismiss our information, twist our information. And we could say to you, for us who share our perspectives to help you, assist you on your 3D living, when our own words get twisted and manipulated and corrupted, it is frustrating. That is the most meekest word we could say, because we are constantly trying to get your attention to be able to empower yourselves, to love others, to accept and respect all, and to be kind to each other as if you love each other, because you should be loving each other. No exceptions. And so we see some of you still have a game of, well, he said this and she did that. And we say, and lessons, grow from them, grow up, get over it. You're merely plain human. You don't fully need to act like them. You may feel like this is judgment, but we are saying for some of you advanced souls, being human is no longer serving you in your limitations of comparisons, jealousy, resentments, lack of empowerment of true self. Many of you are very capable of having much higher mindsets than just a third dimension. But yet some are still choosing, in some examples, to still think that the most important thing is your materialism, the way you look versus the way you love each other and respect each other. There is still so much trickery that you're trying to impress upon each other. And it is not with sincerity or even skill sets. Words, regardless of how much you hope that these words will help you fake it until you make it, there is truth. And so anyone that is trying to fake spirituality is not able to truly make it, because you're not grounding yourself. You are thinking that impressing others will make you enlightened, and yet it does nothing to enlighten you apart from shine a light on you for your foolery. And so we say with love, it is very easy to humble yourself, to connect in, to know yourself, even those advanced souls, and accept yourselves. Those advanced souls feel shameful to even question, am I advanced? Is this me? Have I been overachieving? Have I been trying to seek outside of myself because I don't trust what comes within me, because I'm still struggling to identify fully being human? And when I don't feel like I'm fully mastering human, how could I be above human? And we are saying this is where you get so restricted, confused, and displaced and disheveled, because advanced souls trying to merely just simply accept being human is quite the downgrade. And we're not trying to offend humans. We respect the journey and experiences. Some of you are here for advanced purposes and roles. And when you are needing to just accept who you are, love who you are, and find high joy to be high frequency vibrations, which you are here for, you are a gift to humanity, and you are still struggling to identify being, in quotations, a normal functioning human. And so you worry about being normally human. You strive to achieve to be a normal human. And this is like saying to a butterfly, get back into that chrysalis and go back to be a caterpillar. And the butterfly cannot do that ever. You cannot devolve. And so some of your souls, some of the people we are speaking to right now, some of those beings who I'm speaking to, we are speaking to right now, you cannot devolve into being human. You cannot devolve into being back a caterpillar. You are the butterflies in human meat suits. You identify being human. You can only truly remember being human, but yet within you, you have your own wings. You are more special than human. And we are saying being human is special, being human is wonderful. We respect all journeys. But for those souls who have had and been much more and many times different beings, coming back and devolving into the meat suit to just pretend to be human can be very challenging. It is like trying to drive in reverse on a very fast speed highway. It's so twisted, and you feel so disheveled. And it's not just about this not being your home planet. It's about this not being your natural density. This is not you normally in your current relaxed state of being a higher frequency. And so you often will go into your higher frequency when you're sleeping. This is why some of you are addicted to sleeping and don't want to be awake, because this density is not giving you joy. And we're saying this is when you need to ground yourselves more, because you're holding onto that density too tight and you're starting to resent that density. So you're noticing it more. So whatever you're focusing on, you're keeping in your awareness. And we are saying focus on high frequency vibrations. This would make a tremendous shift in your perspective of living. So we are concerned we have spoken too fast and misspoken some words. And we can say some of it sometimes is intentional for you to stop and think and question, because when you just passively listen to this, we could say 1,000 different words and you still were just tuning into the energy and not the words. Some of you do need to listen to the words, and some of you, actually, we say all of you need to apply the words and take the time to go within, stop distracting yourselves, and sit with yourself and feel within you, feel your heart, within your heart, your, not your physical organ, your heart, your emotions. Feel again, allow yourselves to feel again love of self. Some of you are angry that you have decided to be here. Some of you have deep remorse. So you're angry with self. You can't love yourself because you can't even understand why you would do this to yourselves. And we are saying, when you can empower yourselves through that, we don't want to say pity party, because that is not that is not what's going on there. You're still confused of why you would think, because you know you could handle this life, and it has been harder for many, but you're unbreakable. And so you have those moments of, what on earth was I thinking? And we were saying, when you were thinking about earth, you were not on earth to think about it. You couldn't even feel it. It is like someone else making a bath for you, and you have to dive into that bath. You know you want to have that bath. You've agreed upon that bath. And you don't know the temperature. It could be ice cold or it could be boiling hot. But you know you have to have that bath. You know many beings count on you to have that bath. And you know it doesn't matter if it was hot or cold. You had to go. You had to go. And you know that whatever happened to your physical body in that bath, you're still being of service, because your soul is still part of this. It may freeze you, it may burn you, but you're still here to be of service. And so you didn't care about the details of that bath. You didn't care about the details of all that was required for you to come to earth. All you cared about was those soul family members here, still trying to find their way back to love each other, to empower themselves at a third dimensional rate. You did not mind. It was not a priority what your physical worlds would be like, because your love for other humans, other souls, other beings here on this planet were your biggest priority, your biggest calling, your biggest mission. And you knew that whatever they were going through, you could be there for them and with them, doing it together, being with them together. It is incredibly challenging, and we understand it. When you're there, and feeling it all, and all of your senses are being overwhelmed. But when you remember the core factor and reasons why you were there and who you were there for, will help you focus. We are saying when one part of your body is in pain, if you held on to a piece of ice with with one hand, and you could feel the burning of that frozenness on your hand, you could keep thinking about that pain, that discomfort, that cold, 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 cold block of ice until the entire thing mounted, and you could be hyper focused and fixated on the discomfort and the dribbling and all that goes with holding on to a big block of frozen ice. Or while you're holding on to that big block of frozen ice, you think of the other hand, or you think of the toe that does not feel that pain, does not feel that discomfort. And while you're distracting yourself with what's not hurting, this could be a tool for you. While your souls are not hurting and your physical energy fields are being accosted by other densities, triggers, dramas, egos, you are focusing on sometimes the things that only hurt you versus the things that are completely fine, completely balanced, completely non-affected. And so again, are you holding on to some of the pain from childhood that isn't actually the pain that you're experiencing today in your daily lives? It's still being carried within you because you're still not letting it go. You're still hurt. You still recognize with fear that you weren't good enough, or that you weren't deserving enough, or you weren't loved, you weren't nurtured, you weren't inspired, you weren't encouraged, in a world full of lack and confusion and disconnection. We understand that unpacking all your experiences to have empowerment for all experiences is quite the journey, and can take souls many lifetimes to explore and unpack it and heal from it and find balance and neutral. For some of you, you don't have that luxury. You have many different lifetimes here to master it. You've got this one. And so for you high achievers that are trying to play human, and your expectations of what an advanced human should look like and be, we are saying remove status, remove finances, remove a whole lot of assumptions that you think is a highly functioning human and what that looks like. And remember, the purpose of being human is to have compassion and love for all, to inspire all to have love, compassion for all. That has been our message always, is love. But when you can't even identify what love is, and when you don't love self, we might as well be saying algebra. We know that the vehicle has no idea about algebra, and so it's completely foreign to her. So therefore, we're just speaking obviously nonsense because no one can get algebra. And some of you equate when we say that about love. You're still seeking source of energy, and we're saying it is not here in the third dimension on purpose. The whole design, the whole purpose of not having love, source energy, how you are used to when you are back with source, is on purpose. It is not an accident. It is the literal reasons why you're here, to have these different experiences in a third dimension. It is challenging. They are always challenging for various reasons, because that's the experience. You get very bored being advanced souls, repeating similar stuff. You want differences. You want unique experiences independently from your soul family, but also with your soul family at the same time. There's so much layers to designing lives here on Earth and others. There is so much to be said about it, but humans are stumbling with the basic concepts of loving themselves, seeing that all experiences are for lessons to grow from. There are good experiences, and you could say challenging experiences, but they're all very purposeful. And so some of the things that you have done in your life were to remind you that they were not to serve you or to serve others. And yet some of you will never forgive yourselves for exploring all experiences. And that is judgment that you're casting upon yourself and limiting yourself from growing and loving yourself and others. Every day is a new opportunity to have new choices, to empower yourself, not just physically, not just mentally, but spiritually. And while you already are advanced souls, merely plain humans, it is about trusting and feeling back into who you are, trusting and loving self. Because again, we say, when you can't fully love and trust yourselves, you will be dismissing us. You will be using your ego instead of our perspectives to give you answers, and they will be limited answers, answers from hurt, answers from pain, reactions to answers versus true wisdom and knowledge. We see many people who claim to channel very confused about what they are channeling, because often they are merely speaking through their own egos with limited perspectives and hurt value based knowledge. And so, again, always best to do your inner work, to love yourselves, to know what that is, to accept yourselves, to stop viewing yourselves as others may have. You hold on to hurt words so strongly, you repeat what other people say about you in a loop in fear it could be true. And so you're focusing again on that frozen block of ice in your hand, burning yourself over and over again. And we say that moment is past. You do not have any one saying negative things to you about you, because that is actually their own reactions to their own personal hurts. They're sharing with you what's their problem. There is so much to be said about that. Reflect on what you're holding as a identification of who you are. Other people's opinions and judgments are only their own personal projections. You know when you have been demanding with your attitudes, and you know when you have come from balance and neutral. Own and be responsible for your behaviors, your own reactions, and your own inner work and integrity. If someone has called you out and triggered you for your choices that haven't empowered you or others, own it. Forgive yourself and grow from it, and do the same to others. We have said much, and we need you to apply the information and develop a trust of self, a love of self, and a healthier respect of self, because we see many of you still struggling. And we say this again and again and again. And we know some of you are distracting yourselves from acknowledging we're talking to you. And so we say this with love, and we appreciate being able to use this vehicle once again.